I don't have a smart-ass opener this week, but I will say for damn sure NXT took advantage of an unopposed Wednesday night. Let's talk about it. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, and this is your NXT review for December 23rd, day after my birthday, but not quite Christmas NXT review. And as I said in the opener, how do I even put it into words? NXT took total advantage of this week and packed a show that they knew was going to run unopposed because AEW running on TNT. I think there's a basketball game or something like that. It's going to go on at like 10:30 tonight. That's fine. I'm not even taking a dig at AEW, but if you have an unopposed Wednesday night, you definitely shoot your shot. That doesn't mean you do shotgun knee-jerk booking. It just means you give us a little bit of everything going on so that people that may not watch every week can get an idea of what's going on, and I think that's really, really good. The other thing I will say, and I really don't want to bog this down in the ratings war because AEW is winning right now. As much as that breaks my heart, as much as I genuinely don't agree with it, and as much as the whole 18 to 49 argument is bullshit unless you're an accountant, I will say they dropped by like 200-something thousand, and NXT went up last week. NXT still lost, but drastic up for NXT, drastic down for AEW is something to keep an eye on. I'm not saying, oh my god, we're coming back, I'm not doing the Triple H, it's a marathon, not a sprint. I'm not doing any of that. But I will say, while NXT is losing, and NXT is the brand that I support, it is interesting to see such a drastic drop for AEW and a drastic rise for NXT, and I'm really interested to see, especially with the time shifting, which is probably unfair on my part, I really am interested to see what these things do. Because everybody's saying recently, when I turned on the camera, I wasn't even going to go into this. Everybody's saying, why doesn't NXT just admit defeat and move to another night? And it's like, no. NXT's been on, it was on the network before it was on TV, but it's been on Wednesday night almost since its inception, I believe. I believe there's the odd time here or there when they did Super Tuesday and all that kind of shit. But for the most part, it's been, ever since it was a 1-hour network special, it has always been on Wednesday nights. And my immediate thought to that as well is, AEW could move too. Just saying. But what I will say is I wish the two companies could come to a compromise. Keep them on Wednesday nights, because having 4 hours of awesome wrestling, and I mean, whether you're more hyped for AEW or more hyped for NXT, Wednesday is the best night for wrestling. I wish they could maintain this time shift. If I had my way, if I had, any power over WWE or AEW or Vince McMahon or Tony Khan or whoever they're diddling with in Impact right now, I would say, I don't even know which one it would be. I would say NXT go early, but I would say, whereas right now both of them run 8 to 10. If you're in a different time zone than me, just figure it out. But for me, here in Toronto, in the Toronto area in Canada, both AEW and NXT run from 8 to 10. I would love if NXT ran 7 to 9 and AEW ran 9 to 11. I think that works for everybody. I think the wrestling fans that are used to seeing those two wrestling shows on the Wednesday night would win, because let's be real, there are a lot of fans that get lost in the shuffle of I'm watching AEW or I'm watching NXT. There's a great majority of fans that watch both, and I do watch both. I've joked around with you guys quite a lot about how I watch NXT, write all my notes and do all the shit, talk to you like I'm doing right now. And I guarantee you, as I'm editing this video that you're watching right now, or this podcast that you're listening to right now, I was listening to AEW in the background. Now, it is the background because NXT is my preferred show, Rah. That it wouldn't change in the slightest, but you would feed into that idea that, hey, these shows need to be apart so that they can both thrive. And you would have, for people not like us, for people not doing YouTube like me, doing podcasts like me and Good Mic Work and a couple of other people, for people not doing live streams like Jake and Joe and those kind of guys, it would, For people not doing any of those things, it would be 4 solid hours on a Wednesday night of great wrestling. I would rather go from 7 to 11 4 solid hours than tape one, watch the other, because then something's getting spoiled. I mean, AEW is not my cup of tea all the time, but there are some surprises that I would have loved to be without. Like, I mean, the Moxley thing wasn't surprising, but it was still spoiled for me. The Sting thing was spoiled for me as well. Not that I'm hyped about the Sting thing like most people are. I'm rambling here, and I'm 5 minutes into my ramble now. Let me know what you guys think. I don't think either show, and I'm not saying AEW should move days either. I don't think either show needs to move days, but I think if they just split the time, Wednesday nights would be the key night in wrestling even more than it already is. And that's not to take a shot at people like Impact and what they're doing. That's not even to take a shot at, SmackDown, which is pretty good right now, Raw, which is a piece of shit, but Wednesday night is the target night for mainstream North American wrestling. And if nobody wants to move, but if both sides budged a little, I think that would be really, really good. Let me know what you guys think down in the box below. I don't have enough comments in the comment section, and YouTube tells me this constantly, so please let me know what you think about that, either in the comment section down below, or if you're watching live on the premiere, let me know live in the chat. Now let's get on to the house cleaning, because I wasn't planning on going on that ramble tonight. Thank you to each and every one of you on Twitter, on Facebook, lots of people in the Joe Cronin Show live chat a couple of days ago. Everybody that got in touch with me wished me happy birthday. It still blows my mind. I've been doing this for a long time, but it still blows my mind to get a text message or a tweet or a Facebook message from, places all over the globe. It always starts with my buddy James, Fear the Spirit 1990. Big shout out to James, who's over in the UK, and I always forget that time zones are a thing. So the day before my birthday, I get a text right as I'm leaving work, and I'm like, oh, I guess it's midnight where you are. And, Facebook sets off an alert or something along those lines. But I don't think I answered everybody. I don't think I responded to everybody. But don't let that dismay you. I really do appreciate every single little bit of it. And there's not really much else I can say. Did I have a good birthday? As good a birthday as you can have in COVID? Yeah, I had a steak. So that was something. I mean, I went to work that day. I mean, what else am I going to do? But I toast all you guys. I don't have a proper drink, but here, what's left of my iced tea. I toast all you guys, and I really do appreciate it. And stuff like your birthday popping up really does sort of underscore all that. Keeping that in mind, you guys are going to be watching this on Thursday if you're watching it live, which means it is Christmas Eve. For those of you celebrating Christmas Eve, happy Christmas Eve. I hope you are all keeping safe and warm and cuddly and cozy, or whatever the hell the words I want to use are. For those of you celebrating anything else in the December season, I don't have a big long list of all the different holidays that take place in December. I hope you're celebrating whatever you're celebrating. For anybody out there, I want to be clear about this too. For anybody out there for whom this Friday is just another Friday, I just hope you have a good Friday. How about that? There's a SmackDown. Most of the spoilers are out, but it's a pretty good show. I'm still going to watch it. And then we're on into New Year's. Now, I will say, programming notes. As you've noticed, there's 3 ongoing series right now. On FlixFix, we're doing the Joker trilogy. With Guapo, we're doing a feature on the AEW Tag Team division. And with Jake DeMarco, we're finishing up our feature on the NXT Women's division. All 3 of those have been pushed into the new year, because over the next couple of days, you guys know it's a shit show. Between the little hazy time between sort of a couple days before Christmas to a couple days after New Year's, it's all a bit of a shit show. So all 3 of those potential different things with those awesome co-hosts, and I will say this, shout out to Jake, shout out to Guapo, shout out to Kristen, you guys are awesome. I'm always going to say that I'm lucky to have the co-hosts that I have, and yes, we are going to get Connor back for something, eventually. All those have been pushing to the new year. As it stands right now, the only thing I can guarantee you for sure is that the first collab you're going to get out of this channel in 2021 in January is going to be a prediction for New Year's Evil, NXT New Year's Evil, which is going up. It should go up on the 5th because the show is happening on the 6th. That'll be obviously myself and Jake DeMarco, and especially after tonight, there's a lot of stuff to talk about going into New Year's Evil, which looks like a hell of a show. But before we can do any of that, I need to do the thing that it says right in my notes here that says plug the socials. So if you're sitting here right now on YouTube watching me with my silly, sexy face in the gimmick hat and you want to find me in an audio platform, check out Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, all those other places. Search Spaz Phoenix Podcast. If you are listening to me in an audio form and you're not seeing the silly, sexy face and you're not seeing the gimmick hat, you want to see me on YouTube, search Spaz Phoenix. Go to Spaz Phoenix on Instagram, Spaz Phoenix and Spaz Phoenix 1 on Twitter, and go to Facebook, search the Spaz Phoenix Facebook group. We are still trying to get this channel to 1,100 subs by New Year's. I don't think it's going to happen. We're painfully close, but you know, it is what it is. And NXT, December 23rd, as I said, and I mean it, I'm going to keep underlining it, I mean it in a positive way, they took the absolute most of an opportunity to have, like I say, have an uncompeted against show. That's not proper English, is it? We started off with a Tag Team Championship match for reasons. We had Lorcan and Burch versus the team of Killian Dane and Drake Maverick. And I will say, again, shooting the shit with Jake DeMarco as I'm watching the show, the one thing that NXT is starting to achieve very, very slowly is they are starting to make Drake Maverick somebody you can take seriously. And before you laugh, I'm saying starting. They're not having him go out there and be an outwardly comical character. They're having him still be out there as the sympathetic ragdoll, but they're not. If there was any rock star spud left in him, it's pretty much gone. But this is a Tag Team Championship street fight to open the show, and it's a cold open, which I think they did last week as well. I don't mind a cold open because it feels frantic right off the bat, which is not always a good thing, but if you're doing a street fight is by its nature frantic, so it's fine. Dane and Maverick start the match by jumping the champions in the aisleway. Burch eats the steps. There's a chair shot by Maverick. There's some brawling on the outside. They start moving the furniture almost immediately. There's a double Irish whip into the fences by the champions on Killian Dane, a mudhole by Burch, and then another mudhole by Lorcan, and followed by some uppercuts. Backdrop onto two chairs by Dane, and there's more chair shots to follow. Dane uses Maverick as a weapon and then hits a senton on one of the champions. Corner splash by Dane, a double enziguri by Dane and Maverick in the corner, which is nice. Uppercuts by Burch, a lariat, and Lorcan and Dane brawl to the outside. There's a pump kick by Dane, and Dane eats table on the outside. They were going to do a table breaking spot, I'm sure, but the table broke before anybody got thrown into it, so I think they had to improvise on the fly. But that, a little lackluster, but it did send us into the commercial break. As we come back from the commercial break, Lorcan is whipping Drake Maverick with his own belt. And this is where I say, I'm going to say this 3 times tonight. There are 3 great sellers that I'm going to talk about in this show tonight. 2 of them are baby faces, so they're selling and they're gaining sympathy at the same time. The third is a heel who is selling and getting laughed at because they are a heel, and I'll let you figure out which ones are which. Double arm wringer and chops by Lorcan and Burch. Dane comes back, and I can't read my own writing to save my life. Dane comes back with heavy rates and a suplex by both men. Double splash by Dane and a toss powerbomb. The toss powerbomb that Dane does always looks reckless, but at the same time always looks like he is in control of it. So equal parts one and the other. Dane comes off the apron. Dane gets knocked off the apron onto the 2 tables that are set up on the outside, but they don't break. So here's the biggest dude in the match, Killian Dane, skipping across 2 tables and then splat on his back, on his spine, on his hips, on the floor. Not a nice spot. Back to whipping Maverick with his old belt once again, but he hits a low blow on one of them and a mule kick on the other one, and it's Maverick's turn with the belt, which is nice. And I think at some point, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, you guys know I'm watching the shitty stream. I'm not even going to do the bit tonight, but I'm watching the shitty USA stream. I think he accidentally whipped Lorcan across the face with his belt. There was just a moment of pause in there, and it just didn't look nice. It added to the match, like an accidental blood spot adds to the match, but I don't think it was nice. Low blow by Lorcan, and Burch comes in with a cricket bat for reasons, and then they hit the elevated DDT for the win. This was really, really good. This was not the squash match that I thought it was going to be when it was first announced. And because they are growing as a team, Killian Dane, even though he's pretty dead himself, pulls the carcass of Drake Maverick out of the ring and carries him to the back, and they are forming as a team, and it's wonderful. We go to video footage of something that was probably one of the best things that happened tonight, which is Christmas with the Garganos. Christmas with the Gargano way. Big montage of them decorating their house. Johnny Gargano playing the piano. He says, we don't need Elf on a Shelf because we've got Gargano on the piano, and it doesn't work enough that it makes it absolutely great. It's all shot sort of like home movie style. Austin Theory is the first one to open one of his presents, and it's a can of protein powder. It's whey powder. It's the Gargano whey powder, which is just lame enough to be right up my street. Balor and O'Reilly coming up next. And I don't know what to say about this, because WWE always does great video packages, but it's the two of them watching their match from TakeOver. And this was really different, because it wasn't quite an interview, and it wasn't quite a promo, and it wasn't quite a highlight package. We as the audience were sitting there watching the match with them as they talked about it. And I thought, it's not that it's never been done before, but it's such a unique way of doing things. And you can only do it with two guys that definitely want to get their hands on each other again, but where it's an established bit of mutual respect as well. I thought it was really good. It was really put together. WWE, obviously, with their video packages, is always great, and that's fine. Tyler Rust is in the back with Malcolm Bivens because he's joined Biven Enterprises, and he talked about his debut last week and how great it was, and later on tonight, we're going to make some money. Swerve. Isaiah Swerve Scott, who is, I guess, a heel or just a jackass finding his way at this point, against Jake Atlas, who is the other body in the ring for Swerve's heel turn. They had a match a couple weeks ago. Atlas won. Swerve tossed away the handshake. And Swerve doesn't like losing, which I don't think in and of itself is a heel thing. Like, I shouldn't be losing to somebody like Jake Atlas is not necessarily an insult. It's just where he sees himself in the pecking order. I mean, every star should see themselves as a contender. Every star should see themselves as a potential champion. If you're willing to say, hey, that guy over there is probably better than me, I probably can't beat him, then you probably shouldn't be in the ring. But everything after that, he comes out, he's got new ring gear, he's got this big elaborate coat, and his hair is all different colors. I don't know whether it was different colors last time, but it speaks to the arrogance a little bit. Anyways, collar double tie-up and some quick early pin attempts to start the match. Atlas tries to work on the arm. There's a palm strike instead. There's a shoving match to follow, a boot by Atlas, a takedown by Swerve, front face lock by Atlas, a dragon screw into the ropes. He dragon screws him, but the way he takes the dragon screw, he also clotheslines himself on the rope at the same time. Not a nice way to land. Springboard integrate by Atlas takes Swerve right out of the ring as we go to commercial break. I don't know about you guys. The commercial breaks are getting more and more noticeable nowadays because, to me, and I don't know whether this is just a thing with American television, there's not a whole lot of shows that do, or whatever, picture-in-picture advertising up here anyways. But the way they rotate between a quick break, a longer break, and a break with picture-in-picture, it's not... I think I would take any of them. I think I would take any of those options, but flipping between them is not the move, in my opinion. Anyways, coming back from commercial break, there's an overhead wrist lock by Swerve and a jumping destroyer by Atlas. Swerve super kicks Atlas off the rope and eats a second super kick. Second super kick. I swear I can speak. I swear I haven't even been drinking tonight. It's fine. Tilt-a-whirl side slam and a deadlift vertical suplex by Swerve, one after the other, was really, really nice. Both of them had a lot of snap to them. It was good. Boot by Atlas. Poison Rana is countered by Swerve in midair, and he just lands on his feet. And they say wrestling isn't ballet, but that was pretty ballet-ish in a good way, in the best way I can possibly say that. But he comes off the rope and he lands like it's fucking nothing. Like, Deadpool in the Deadpool movie, incoming superhero pose. Like, that's basically how he comes off of a super Poison Rana. I don't imagine that's easy, even for somebody as experienced as Swerve. Anyways, both men trade some kicks. There's a long pinning reversal sequence, a springboard reverse bomb thing. Basically, Swerve lifts him up and in sort of like, he looks like he's going to clothesline him on the ropes, but he bounces him and curls him inward. So I'm going to say springboard inverted power bomb. the commentators quickly helped me out after that. Apparently it's called the confidence boost, which is fucking fantastic. Swerve gets the win. He's being a little bit of a dick about it, but then he reaches his hand out of the ring. Hey, come on, man, you wanted to shake my hand before. How come you're not shaking my hand? It's fucking good, isn't it? Cole and Strong are in the back. They're getting interviewed about Kyle O'Reilly's match with Finn Balor in 2 weeks. What do they think? Obviously, they think their buddy's going to win. He's going to win this time. And they're interrupted by Velveteen Dream. And first of all, Velveteen Dream shouldn't be on my television because I don't give a fuck and he doesn't contribute anything to the show. Second of all, there's a whole lot of other reasons why the Textatine Dream should not have a job. But anyways, he gets the bitch slap that he deserves from Adam Cole, and Adam Cole calls him out for a match later on tonight, and there's your main event settled. Thatcher is in the back. He's yelling sort of promo at Ciampa, but Ciampa's not there. Basically, he stepped up to me like most people around here don't do, and he said he wanted to fight me, so we did. Now I'm asking him to watch what I do to Leon Ruff tonight, and I'm saying I want to fight Tommaso Ciampa. Rhea Ripley versus Dakota Kai was the next match. We go through some Twitter from earlier in the day, and basically Raquel Gonzalez is banned from ringside because she said she wanted to be banned from ringside sarcastically on Twitter, and William Regal took her at her word. I don't know how to say it other than Rhea Ripley and Dakota Kai have a weirdly good chemistry in the ring. For the size difference between the two of them, for the style difference between the two of them, for the speed difference between the two of them, the power, the whole thing. For how different they are, they have a weirdly good chemistry in the ring. Raquel's banned from ringside, and we're off to the races. I really thought that this was going to be the main event because of how, and I keep beating the drum because it's absolutely true, the women's division in NXT is the best division, period, in mainstream North American wrestling. I'm sorry, it just is. Really thought this was going to be the main event. It wasn't, obviously, when they announced the Cole versus Dream was going to be the main event. One of those people deserves to be in the main event. One of them deserves to be unemployed. But it is what it is. Collar and double tie, and Ripley gets the better of it for the most part. Power game in the corner. And my shitty North American, USA Network stream dies. I come back. We're in a commercial. As we're in the commercial, I can barely sort of see that Dakota Kai has gotten the advantage. Somehow she's working on the arm, she's kneeling, she does this really cool thing because she's working on the arm, typical like arm bar, cross arm breaker, that type of thing, but then Rhea Ripley's face down and she's kneeling on the back of the shoulder joint, and that just looked, because she's so skinny, and I'm not trying to like say anybody's like one type or another, but because she's so slim, you can imagine like her knee, like her kneecap and her elbow and all that being just a little bit sharper. So to imagine that not only that weight, but that sharpness in the ball of your shoulder when you're face down is just, it's a pain I can imagine, if that makes sense. I mean, it's wrestling. I'm never going to be doing this in a million years. Anybody that's seen me knows that I'm not going to be doing this anytime soon. But it's one of those things that you can imagine, like pricking yourself on a thumbtack is something you can imagine. I don't know what it's like to go through a table. I don't know what it's like for somebody to come and slap me in the face with a steel chair. It might surprise you. Nobody's ever slapped me in the face with a steel chair. But I have pricked my finger on a thumbtack. So I know what that's like. I can extrapolate that into, hey, here's what it might feel like to fall on 100 of them or so. I have bumped into sharp objects. So when I imagine Dakota Kai and her knee and her elbow being sharp objects, I can imagine what that would feel like. It's a more real wrestling moment, if that makes sense. Anyways, coming back from the commercial break into full screen, short arm scissor by Kai transitions into a cross arm breaker after doing the whole kneeling on the shoulder thing. Single arm power bomb by Ripley, says, well, fuck you, I've still got one good arm. Basement drop kick to the back, drop kick by Ripley, face first power slam. They're trading some strikes, they're trading some forearms, some body shots, some headbutts, and some boots. Second rope snake eyes by Kai and a modified haluva kick out of that position. Standing figure four by Ripley, and of course, Raquel Gonzalez shows up on the ramp. There's a corner beatdown on Dakota Kai by Ripley, taking out her frustration for Raquel Gonzalez on Raquel Gonzalez's smaller friend. Boot by Kai. Kai manages, and I love this, and it's a great move, and I love the name of it because I love a good pun. Kai hits the chiropractor on Rhea Ripley. And again, I say, with the size of Ripley and the speed of Dakota Kai, the chiropractor on Ripley looks fucking insane. Series of kicks to the face, but Rhea Ripley, not even really looking at Dakota Kai, looking daggers at Raquel Gonzalez, ragdolls Dakota Kai with a huge riptide for the win. Now that the match is over, there's no more band in place. Raquel Gonzalez makes her way down to the ring. They have a long, long stare down before the fists finally go flying, and it's that elevated thing, because the referee pull apart is a thing in wrestling, and they do the referee pull apart, and literally Raquel Gonzalez picks one of them up and puts them in the corner and says, like, fucking stay there, which is absolutely wonderful. And then so you go to that next elevator. Oh, not only are the referees out here, but the agents are out here, and some of the trainers are out here. Like, it just elevates it a little bit, because I said it before, and people told me I was being offensive. I'm not trying to be offensive, but right now, these two are the King Kong and Godzilla of this awesome division, and so it should take more than a couple of referees to break them up. I like that. It's good. And they held off on the announcement until later, which I really, really love. Back to the Garganos, and Indy Hartwell is opening up her present, and her present is a PS5 box. And Johnny Gargano says, yeah, the PS5 is mine, but I wanted to throw the box in there so that what I'm about to say could have the proper impact. He says, you're going to take the family name. And what is it? Johnny Wrestling, Candice Wrestling. They have dubbed Indy Hartwell Indie Wrestling. And that is all the lame in all the best ways. And maybe I'm a bad person. Maybe I'm on an island. Maybe all the AEW stands are there going to say, but that's lame, and then watch people fight in orange juice. That's fine. I fucking love it. And he just caps off the segment with, well, we love indie wrestling. We're here to support indie wrestling. And that's fucking great. Toni Storm is backstage, and she brags about beating Rhea Ripley. And she does so in what I can only say is an Alicia Fox-worthy big hat. And it's just fucking great. She's peacocking all over the place. And she calls out Io Shirai. She mentions her history in the Mae Young Classic and basically implies that Io Shirai is scared of her, which is fine. We go to the weird world of Xia Li and Boa, and they've had enough of getting the shit kicked out of them and kicking the shit out of each other. Old dude that's watching them says, you guys have had enough, you're ready, and random person in the cloak with the painted face and the eyes just continues to look at them, which is great. Bronson Reed is back. Bronson Reed is their Godzilla, and I love the entrance. I love how much they've put into his presentation, and I love the fact that they've capped it off with his jacket having a literal dragon that sits around his shoulders. Now, I will say he's going up against Ashanti the Adonis, which I know a lot of people like, and I like too, but this was not his night. Reed shrugs him off, tosses him away. Adonis gets a couple of kicks in. Reed hits him with an avalanche, a senton, and a tsunami, and gets the win. Basically screams into the camera, the big boy is back and everybody needs to be afraid. I really like Bronson Reed. I think Bronson Reed's a lot of fun, and I think that's what a lot of this night is good for, is people that I like, people that are fun, having a good time. Bronson Reed's having a good time. The Garganos are having a good time. I mean, Drake Maverick getting ragdolled around the ring and serving his purpose is still kind of having a good time. Rhea Ripley tossing Dakota Kai around like she weighs nothing, because she pretty much does, is fine. Those two wanting to kick the shit out of each other is fine. Toni Storm coming out in a big Alicia Fox-worthy hat is fine. Xia Li and Boa are doing this weird cinematic shit that I hope is fun for them, and I'm still intrigued, so I'm having a good time. A lot of the things that I find fun, we're hitting on all cylinders tonight. Io Shirai, reacting to the words of Toni Storm, goes out to the ring, says a bunch of things in Japanese that I don't know, so I'm not going to pretend, calls out Toni Storm. We literally hear maybe 2 bars of the beginning of Toni Storm's entrance, but instead she's attacked from behind. Who's attacking her from behind? She was almost in retribution, but no! Mercedes Martinez chokes out Io Shirai, takes her out of the ring, tosses her into that rigging that is inexplicably next to the ring announcers now. I think it's just something else for them to be tossed into, if I'm honest. Tosses her into the rigging, into the post, spears her into the apron, and then tosses her into, doesn't toss her on the commentator's desk, tosses her into the front of it, to the point where a bit of the front of it actually broke. Mercedes Martinez is targeting Io Shirai. Fucking yes, please. That's the end of that. And we go back to the Garganos once again, and Candice LeRae unwraps a big, round, black item, and I didn't know what it was at first because I'm dumb sometimes. Gargano says, you know what, even though we don't like wheels, we have to make an exception because it's the holidays. That wheel is the last remaining piece of Shotzi Blackheart's old tank. That's fucking great. And then they take a snapshot with the whole family, and because Austin Theory is kind of an idiot, he's sort of blowing dust with his whey powder, and they all just look so snarky and so happy to be there, and it's so good. Everybody that wants to punch Gargano in the face says, "Oh, this is so annoying. This is grating on me." I'm like, that's because it's working. Thatcher versus Ruff was odd. I like where we got in the end. Trust me, because we're going to talk about that when we get there. But it should be a murder, right? Thatcher versus Leon Ruff. He's sending a message to Tommaso Ciampa. It's all good. In the early parts of the match, I literally wrote on my clipboard, "This is going to be a murder," and I slowly started seeing that the match wasn't ending. It's like, okay, Ruff can do a lot of headlocks. And when Ruff does a headlock, he basically looks like he's hanging off of Timothy Thatcher like a necktie. And he sells well. He is the second one. Him, Drake Maverick in the first match, Leon Ruff here. They do sell well. They sell sympathy really well. They sell a beatdown really, really well. Thatcher is so nonplussed with his opponent. He goes out, grabs a chair, sets up a chair in the rampway, calling out Tommaso Ciampa to come and watch the match. He's not there. A couple more things here and there. There's a couple odd, lucky shots by Ruff, and Ruff gets a roll up and beats Tommaso Ciampa. Now, this does my head in. I like Leon Ruff, but if you're trying to set up what you're about to set up, this shouldn't have happened this way. Tommaso Ciampa should have gotten involved, and then Ruff's win would have been a shot directly from Ciampa. I'm not going to nitpick on that too much. There's a post-match beatdown, but then Ciampa runs into the match, quickly hits a Willow's Bell on Timothy Thatcher and says, "You want to fight me? Here I am. Careful what you wish for. You and I are going to have a match in the NXT fight pit." Anybody that saw Thatcher and Riddle when they did the first fight pit match knows that this is fucking great. Now, I don't think you need to do a guest referee spot again. I think we can definitely do without that. But Jesus Christ, we've seen what Tommaso Ciampa can do in his bigger matches when there isn't a cage stipulation, when it's just a regular no holds barred match. And Thatcher, I guess you could say, because he beat Riddle, like the fight pit is his match. Later on, it is confirmed that that match is going to take place at New Year's Evil. And somebody's going to die. Like, it's all I can say there. Somebody is literally going to die. And on top of that, we go to Dexter Lumis, who unfortunately is hosting New Year's Evil, and he's drawing, and this is a really, really lame way to deliver the news, but he's drawn a graphic for New Year's Evil, and it's going to be, not only do we have Balor O'Reilly 2. Not only do we have Cross versus Priest, not only did we just announce that we're going to have Ciampa versus Thatcher in a fight pit, we're going to have Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Gonzalez in a last woman standing match. Tell me why this card is not a proper paper. I mean, I get why it's not a proper pay-per-view. It's fine, I get it. But this should be a pay-per-view. It's not like Halloween Havoc, where they did a lot of important story building stuff, but it also had the silliness of being Halloween Havoc. Like this something's going to happen here, because also I am predicting that we are going to get New Year's Evil is where they're going to reintroduce Boa and Xia Li. I don't know where they're going to get involved. I don't know where a pairing, like an intergender pairing like that is going to go, unless they're going to go, say, after the Garganos. But this, like, the way this is shaping up, and we still have next week to go, and if they're going to do some sort of Io Shirai, Toni Storm, Mercedes Martinez match and add that, then I'm going to go fully into this should have been a pay-per-view mode. Tyler Rust, with Malcolm Bivens in his corner, takes on Ariya Daivari. When was the last time we saw Ariya Daivari on NXT? I know he's on 205 Live, but nobody watches 205 Live. It's fine. Headlock takedown by Rust with the arm trapped as well. Rust works on the arm and the wrist in a modified octopus stretch. Wrist lock helicopter takedown and a short arm scissor by Rust. Boot by Daivari. Suspended neck breaker. And some mounted punches by Daivari. Triangle choke by Rust. And we haven't said this in a while, from Rust, from this brand new impressive guy that I already really, really like on my TV screen, we get, say it loud, say it proud, but I can't say it too loud because I'll wake some people up, the Daniel Bryan silly kicks. Oh yes. More kicks by Rust, an uppercut, and a rolling Rings of Saturn gets the submission victory for Tyler Rust. 2 matches in against somebody like Ariya Daivari, but more importantly, somebody like Tommaso Ciampa. I already really, really like Tyler Rust. I don't know where he was before NXT. I don't know what he was potentially called before NXT, but if anybody does know, please put it down in the comment section below. Please put it in the chat section over there, because I'd really like to know. Leon Ruff is interviewed in the back, and we find out that next week he's getting another shot at Johnny Gargano and the North American Championship, which, if you want to say that we're sort of like milking that match a little too much, I wouldn't mind you saying that, because I'll watch it, because I like Ruff in the role that he's in, and Gargano is Gargano, but they can't go back to this well too many more times, because they're doing the whole, oh, the Gargano's got a curse and whatever, but this time he's got like 3 people in his corner, and Leon Ruff is 5 pounds soaking wet with a brick in his pocket. We know how this one is going to go. Adam Cole versus Velveteen Dream in a main event that Velveteen Dream does not deserve to be on, because he shouldn't be in the main event. He shouldn't be on the best brand in WWE. He shouldn't be on my television. But here we go. Grounded side headlock by Cole, a snapmare in a corner Thez. Press, random few strikes by Dream, a flurry of elbows by Cole, pump kick by Cole, hard Irish whip and a neck breaker, pump kick takes Dream off the apron to the floor, and a headbutt by Dream. Dunn comes down and takes out Strong at ringside, because Strong came out with Adam Cole. That causes a distraction and a cheap shot by Dream, and then we go to commercial break, and this is where I put it in commercial break question mark, because we went to commercial break 5 minutes before the end of the show, but we came back anyways, and there's body shots by Cole, a lariat, a pump kick, and an Ushigoroshi. Enziguri, and here's where we go. Here's where, I'm sorry, AEW, Bucks, specifically I'm looking at you. This is how you do a super kick party. German suplex by Cole. Cole suplexes Dream off the top rope. There's a super kick from the inside of the ring to the outside of the ring by Cole. A super kick outside the ring by Cole, a super kick off the top rope, a super kick when we get back into the ring, followed by a figure 4 and another Ushigoroshi, super kick in midair as Velveteen Dream goes for a world famous top rope something, and the last shot gets the victory for Adam Cole. Awesome victory for Adam Cole. Nice to see him back in the main event. Velveteen Dream, get the fuck off my TV. And we did a lot in this show. Bronson Reed came back. Mercedes Martinez came back. Drake Maverick doesn't look as goofy as he usually does. The women's division is firing on all cylinders. Rhea Ripley is a fucking star. We built 4 really awesome matches for New Year's Evil in 2 weeks. Next week, we're getting Gargano and Ruff for the North American Championship once again. It was hurriedly announced to us during this match that because of the interference by Dunn, we're getting Dunn versus Strong. That's not going to hurt anybody's feelings. And then we go to the following week. We got Cross versus Priest. Priest is going to die. That's fine. Gonzalez versus Ripley. Chapter 2 in a last woman standing match, which is going to be great. Thatcher versus Ciampa. Chapter 2 in the fight pit. Somebody's going to die. Balor versus O'Reilly 2 for the NXT Championship, and they might surprise us in that match. Now, everybody wants what we were supposed to be on our way to a little while ago, which was going to be Balor versus Cross, but I'm not going to lie. Guys, I'm really not going to lie here. If it goes to O'Reilly, first of all, you've got a shock. Second of all, you've made a brand new main eventer in Kyle O'Reilly. Third of all, say it really, really quietly, because I'm as big a fan of Balor as anybody else, but O'Reilly versus Cross is not a bad match. It's not tantalizing, is it? Lot of stuff. As I said, the more realistic thing I come away from this with, and we've got the Xia Li Boa thing that I think is going to be revealed either the week before New Year's Evil or at New Year's Evil. Remember, at Halloween Havoc, a lot of things happened, but one of those things was the reveal of the Pat McAfee group with Lorcan and Birch and Pete Dunne, right? So they might do something, they might do a big reveal that's not necessarily a match. That's why I'm thinking about Boa and Xia Li. But let me know what you guys think. Did NXT shoot their shot tonight knowing that they were going to run unopposed by AEW? Because I really do think they did. And I'm not, again, I have to underscore, I'm not taking a shot at AEW here. I'm just giving a really nice shot in the arm to my chosen brand. You guys know I'm Black and Gold. This is NXT. I've been Spaz, your YWC reality check. Subscribe up there. Talk down there. Start a conversation. Keep all of these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out.